Beal's like pretty good.
Oh yeah, I literally forgot about Beal.
Beal might be the Chris Middleton
So what are you
All-Star.
saying? Somebody you hate?
It's okay, go with him, KD. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Wim Lou. You're listening to the Hello and Welcome podcast presented by Betway. Make sure you find Hello and Welcome wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit subscribe. Please rate and review our show. Also, please keep commenting, liking, subscribing to the channel on YouTube. The more engagements the videos get, the more YouTube knows to push our content towards more Raptor fans. Obviously, you know we're making a huge effort on YouTube. We're going live after pretty much every game at this point. And yeah, it's been great to sort of just interact and build a community. I know this Raptors season is about rebuilding. It's the same for us. We rebuilding as well. So follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Hello Welcome Pod. Joined by co-host Alex Wong. What's going on, my brother?
Yo, what's up, bro?
What is this, man? That's disgusting.
Why you got the shades on, man? What's going on? Is this a new look for you?
This is probably the last day of sunshine of 2024.
Global warming says otherwise.
Okay, well, you know, if it means more sunshine, I suppose it's not all bad. But yeah, I just needed a little bit of, Oasis theme in my life.
Oh, okay, yeah. Edinburgh concert about 8 months away.
Oh, we wearing
Hang
these
tight.
glasses.
64 more Raptors losses to come.
Oh, come on, man. 60 more close fourth quarter leads, and then they blow it. And then Cooper Flag maybe. So,
damn, man. Yeah, no, today I thought we could let's check in on the NBA, after talking to Ben Golliver last week about how to improve the NBA.
Yeah.
Actually been enjoying the NBA basketball a lot this season, man. I don't know about you.
Okay.
Quick swerve, yeah.
Quick swerve, eh?
Yeah, how have you been enjoying the NBA basketball this season?
To take viewers behind the scenes, there's one of the games on this weekend. I believe it was after Raptors Celtics. But I felt like that night you were just watching like a bunch of basketball.
Yeah.
I think maybe because you knew that we were going to do this episode, so you needed to like catch up.
I was doing a little cramming, yeah.
Yeah, you were doing a little cramming last minute. And like,
I can't talk trash about the Knicks unless I watch them for one quarter against the Nets.
And did they win that quarter? Did they beat Cam Thomas?
I mean, that defense is not looking good, but we can talk about that.
Okay, yeah. Well, okay, what are you looking for around the NBA? Because we did do a lot of Raptors talk this week. You could catch that with Sam Vecini. We gave Raptors rookies report cards. Sorry, Jamison Battle, you didn't get a grade. Can you give a quick Jamison Battle grade?
Probably a perfect C. Yeah, perfectly mid.
A perfect cell.
perfectly mid.
Okay, all right, perfect C. I'll probably give him a B. I mean, come on, man. He was undrafted. But all right, that was most of our Raptors content. At least we talked on Monday. We'll obviously have the post-game coverage. But what do you have happening around the NBA?
Yeah, just looking at the NBA standings, I think we're like about a month into the season, and there are some surprises at the top. And I think coming into the season, we did our preview rankings. Everyone did their rankings. And I think starting the East, everybody had Boston at the top, and then Milwaukee and Philly is kind of that next tier along with the Knicks. And surprise, like that hasn't played out, right? And right now, the first team I want to pick your brain about, as we're recording this on the Monday, the Cavs are 15-0 to start the season. They're going to be playing at Boston.
Yep.
So that game would have happened by the time this comes out on Wednesday. But that's like the big matchup of the season so far, I think, with the Cavs going to Boston. 15-0 right now. What do you make of the Cavs? Because this is historically one of the best starts in NBA history. And teams that have gotten to these starts have been championship contenders, gone on to make the finals, gone on to win championships. But it seems like the conversation right now is about whether the Cavs are for real, and everybody wants to like understand that.
Yeah, actually, what really helped me sort of like take stock of what the Cavs have done this season, besides watching them, is Joe Wolfon, our friend over at The Score, actually wrote a really good column about this, and you can definitely find that piece. Joe Wolfon is somewhat of a Cavs. He's like an enthusiast. This is like a diehard team for him, I feel like, but. He tracked a couple of things that I thought stood out, so I'm just going to take some data from his piece.
Oh, nice.
One thing he actually talked about, so the Cavs in the past were always kind of like a little bit less on some of their parts. Like last season when they won on that run where they won 17 of 18 games, a lot of that came with like one or two of their main four injured. And it felt like when they had all four guys together, it was like not enough of the ball. It was like a my turn, your turn situation with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Garland also went through a lot of injuries last season. He kind of played through them, but clearly wasn't himself. Clearly, both of those guys are playing at a very high level, but the stat that stood out to me was apparently both of them per tracking data has the ball 2 minutes less per game, both Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland.
Oh, spreading the wealth.
And like to put that in perspective, it's not 2 minutes less like out of like 38 minutes that they play. It's like usually a player will have the ball for like 6-7 minutes in a game, maybe 8 if you're like Luka or something. But like 2 out of that is like you're having the ball 25% less. But at the same time, they've been more effective being able to sort of play away from the ball. That's also meant that like other playmakers have been, a factor here. Like Ty Jerome's been really nice for them this season.
Yeah, our second favorite Jerome.
Honestly, Ty Jerome, the only Jerome better than Jerome. So
okay.
Karis LeVert's been doing a good job. Evan Mobley, I have to say that he's done a good job of grabbing and going and pushing on the break. It's great to see him develop that in 4 years of basketball.
Nah, man, you got to say something more nicer than for Evan Mobley. His team's 15-0, man.
Yeah, that's fine, man. Congrats, Evan Mobley, man. But like, no, it's cool. He can grab and go. Like, okay. That's awesome, man. Okay. But like, I do think that there is clearly an effect from Kenny Atkinson, who for me right now has to be the favorite for Coach of the Year, just based on sort of what he's done with this new roster that isn't that new altogether. They've gotten to play in a different way. And then the thing I like too is I've watched them play in a couple close games now. And it's not like they only have one closer. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell has been able to make ridiculously tough shots. And there's been lots of games this season where Donovan's hit tough shots, and that's why they closed the game. But there's also lots of games where Darius Garland's been hitting, incredible shots or working the pick and roll and throwing lobs at the basket. Like the fact that they actually have 2 options to close is really deadly because I feel like most teams around the league don't have that. Teams can focus in on one guy, take that option away, and then maybe they'll sort of like someone has to hit a 3 off the ball. But the fact that you can't predict towards the end of a game for the Cleveland Cavaliers, whether it's going to be Donovan or Darius, like it does make it more dynamic. So yeah, they played really well. You got to give them their flowers, except for Evan Mobley.
Yeah, so are you ready to put the Cavs up into this contender level now based on this start to the season? Because I think that's a big question. People are wondering whether they're like the 2015 Hawks when they won like the 60-plus games. Sure, they sent 4 All-Stars and ended up getting swept by the Cavs. I guess in the Cavs' place now would be the Celtics because they're like the favorites in the East. Right. Like, do you see a scenario where, now the Cavs could find themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals, potentially compete and get further? Like, has this start changed the way you look at them, like big picture? I
mean, obviously, the Boston game is to come, and that's gonna be a great test. But currently, for me, I still have Boston ahead of them. Sure. I still think that for Cleveland, when push comes to shove, like, are they going to be able to maintain this rhythm for the whole entire season? That's a question to me. And also, it's just like in terms of who's your best player, like, not to break all of basketball down to that because that's like super reductive, but it eventually becomes important. Like, okay, fine, Atlanta wins 60 games in the regular season, but their best players like Al Horford.
Yeah, like who's going on the television preview graphic? Like they had to stick Horford, Paul Millsap.
It was like Horford and
Jeff Teague's like, yo, don't put me there, man. I'm about to get washed by LeBron.
Horford's like sexy Squidward face versus like LeBron or Kyrie. I was like, all right,
By the way, side note, I'm so sick of watching Al Horford, man. Watching him on the weekend too, like during those like corner threes or whatever against the Raptors. I'm like, I've been watching this guy since he hurt TJ Ford, man.
I know.
Like, you know how many years that's been? Enough is enough.
They're bringing TJ Ford back for anniversary.
New NBA change, you have to retire at a certain age.
By the way, one of my funniest developments of the season is if you watch the Raptors YouTube account, at the end, they'll do like a generic video where they're like, hey, thanks for watching, like subscribe to our content. Again, classic YouTube stuff. Hit like and subscribe on this Hello and Welcome podcast. But last season, they kept running to this thing where they were picking like absolutely the worst options available to do that. So for a big part of the season was like Jalen McDaniels will come on looking like super stoned and be like, hey man, thanks for watching the Raptors this season. Hit subscribe. It was like, oh brother, like of all things, like I didn't want to see Jalen McDaniels. And then it was like Gary Trent Jr. did it for a while, and it's just like these kind of players just kept getting moved out. So this year they were like, you know what? Because it's 30th anniversary, but also we can't trade these former players. It's like TJ Ford doing it, or like Damon Stoudemire.
Oh, they're keeping it safe. Yeah, they're playing it real safe.
It's a very clever adjustment by the Raptors social team. But
I like that.
What are we actually talking about?
Yeah, so we're talking Cavs. Yeah, so Cavs TBD.
Cavs, I mean, they're clearly really good. Like I would say they're clearly better than the Knicks right now.
The East does not run through Cleveland. Yeah,
but we'll see. We will see. I still think it runs through Boston.
Man, speaking of the Cavs, right now on Betway, they are 5-1 to win the East. So if you really believe in the Cavs and what they're doing right now, I don't know, like 5-1, they're not the favorites. The Celtics are still the favorite. To me, like, can you see the Cavs winning 3 rounds? is winning 3 rounds in the East that tough? You know, Boston's really the only team where I'm looking at it like, that's going to be a really tough matchup.
Those are pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good odds. Yeah. Because, like, if something happens to Boston, we haven't even seen Boston full health yet. You know, like, their depth is okay-ish, you know, but yeah, 5-1. So those are pretty good odds. Actually, I'll take that.
Yeah, 5-1. Make sure you hit the QR code below and check out all your basketball odds on Betway. Okay. No, I agree with you on that. Well, those teams that you mentioned the Knicks. Mm-hmm. We've mentioned the Sixers, the Bucks. Those are the teams coming in that were expected to really challenge Boston. And I would say all of them have gone on to like really uneven starts. I mean, the Bucks and Sixers are literally at the bottom of the standings right now.
Don't forget about us.
Yeah, so
Mariah Carey.
They just like us, man. So
they actually are like us.
So let's do the worry meter here, 1 to 10. Let's start with the Knicks, man. So like just from watching the Knicks, like I just thought they lost a lot of depth. I don't know if that matters over the course of maybe a regular season or even in the playoffs, but like tapping into some of their games and watching them, and I guess you have the stats too, it just seems like they're still trying to find that identity for their team. Like you're supposed to have OG and Mikal Bridges, like 2 perimeter lockdown guys, but the defense has not been super impressive. Cat's been putting up big numbers on the offensive end, but I saw these numbers that were going around. I think that was kind of trending. Was like he was allowing guys to score at like a 93% rate at the basket.
Oh, proficiency award.
Oh, brother. So
honor roll.
The Knicks just don't, I don't know. Like I think we knew coming in with all the pieces they were going to take a little bit of time to figure it out. So I wouldn't be so down on them, but I am a bit concerned about like where this is all going and what that identity is going to be.
Tibbs is also like regularly playing his guys 40 plus minutes again. I saw like Josh Hart play like 43 minutes. I'm like, yo, it's November.
No wonder he's putting up 19, 12, and 11.
Yeah,
man.
I mean that's crazy. Like, I think for the Knicks, I'm not that worried. I mean, you would anticipate a huge adjustment period when you sort of change out the roster the way they did. They brought in 2 new starters. Obviously, Cat is like entirely different defensively than how they could have used Hartenstein or how they could have used Mitchell Robinson. I do think that eventually for this team, I would love to see them play almost with 2 bigs, with Cat playing the 4, because that worked really well in Minnesota, and then you can have somebody protect the rim. Ideally, if you could just have healthy Mitchell Robinson with this group, I think it actually fix a lot for this team. The good thing is that like Brunson, Cat pick and rolls are just devastating, and Cat, like you gotta obviously defensively we know he's not good, but like offensively he's really clicked in and he looks just like, he's devastating, honestly. Like, I'm actually, like, really curious to see what they will look like in person when we go see the Raptors take on the Knicks eventually. But, like, that's been good. OG's been really good as well. I feel like OG's sort of been almost like that third guy for them this season. Josh Hart
was my number 1 MIG, man. Most important
honestly,
guy.
he's been doing great. And, Cat we mentioned as a MIG too. But I think maybe the MIG that we forgot about was Mikal Bridges, because, like, defensively, OG's kind of the guy who's like holding it all together. He's really like just been awesome, as we always expect from OG. Mikal Bridges also, remember there was like a discussion like 3-4 years ago where it was like who's the better 3-and-D wing, like OG or Mikal? Maybe this is just the Raptors Twitter.
Certainly. Maybe this was a single thread you started.
I don't know if Stephen A. and like Charles Barkley.
Let's take this to blue sky, guys. Let's take this to blue sky. This is a
blue sky ass debate for sure. OG or Mikal Bridges, who is the best 3-and-D wing in 2022? I mean, I don't feel like Mikal's a 3-and-D wing anymore. I feel like he's not really. I think maybe the time in Brooklyn and how much time he spent as like a number 1 option and sort of like redefined sort of who he was also was in a losing situation. Like, it seems like it's taken him a while to snap back into like what ideally he should be for this team, which is what he was for the Phoenix Suns. And they haven't gotten that. And also, by the way, no one was going to trade 5 first-round picks for Phoenix Suns Mikal Bridges either. So it's just a bit of an awkward situation. But I think the Knicks are actually doing okay, all things considered. Tibbs is always going to find his way through the regular season. The Knicks last year, they were kind of like around 500, a little bit below 500. And then they ripped off that crazy like, how many games? 15? Was it 15? How many games in a row they won? Yeah. So like that kind of like buffed up the record. But this is just kind of how the Knicks are. The other 2 teams I'm totally worried about though. Philadelphia and Milwaukee are both like I'd be terrified if I was fans of those teams expecting to be in the playoffs guaranteed, maybe with a chance to contend. And right now they're so far from that. Yeah,
I mean, Milwaukee recently needed a 59 burger from Giannis and 2 missed free throws from Ron Netherlands, a.k.a. Ron Holland.
Yo, that's crazy.
We
got a new Dutch?
to barely beat the Pistons in overtime. To be fair, Pistons have been a better team this year.
No, they're good. Are the Pistons over 500 now?
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
that's incredible.
I believe they're one of 4 teams in the East that are over 500.
This is the thing. If you're going to be a young team and you're going to take the step away from like developing to like actually like being an identity, you have to do it through defense. That's what happened with Orlando last year. And I don't think Pistons are as good as Orlando was last year.
Well, that's why that's why going back to the Knicks too. Like I'm a little concerned about that because like I don't think they have the guys to have like an elite defensive team. Like they're gonna have to play Towns. Like the lineups are what they are, where they're gonna have to win on offense. Like, can you do that? Do you think they can win by being like an elite offensive team?
Their offense clearly isn't better than like Boston's offense.
Sure.
I don't even know if it's better than Cleveland's offense. I think probably maybe if you get Cleveland down to play in a one-on-one game, it's like who's a better one-on-one player between like, or I guess even pick and roll between Jalen Brunson and Cat versus like Mobley and Mitchell. But yeah.
Okay, but to the Bucks though, like as bad as they look right now, you dove into the picks that they have outgoing, and and the future is not looking good because Brian Windhorst did report last week that the Bucks front office canvassed the whole league and nobody was interested in making a single trade with them. I'm guessing it's because they don't have any assets right now.
This is the type of open gym footage that I wish we would actually get. Yeah. Is like, because you know how the open gym was like in the Raptors draft room?
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll publish like.
It's just John Horst begging.
Yeah.
He's like, don't you know I'm the 2019 exec of the year? Why do I sound like Doc right now?
It's the scene from Moneyball where it's like, like Brad Pitt's like telling his secretary to call one after the other. Like, I wish we had footage of that because like, for some of these teams, like maybe Philadelphia, I feel like they could probably make a trade midseason. Although they probably don't have like mid-tier contracts to sort of make it happen. This is what happens when you have 3 max contracts and like pretty much minimums.
Well, they signed that KJ Martin contract just to specifically trade him at some point.
Yeah, and I think
you can never get one over on Daryl Morey.
The history with Daryl Morey is that he's gonna be a very active in-season trader as well.
The history of Daryl Morey is every single person is an asset.
Every single person is an asset, and also I love James Harden. Ooh, I love James Harden. I love James Harden.
But the Bucks. What do the Bucks have to trade, man?
The Bucks don't have anything to trade.
Where are these picks all going?
They actually have contracts that you can like slot in and kind of like move 1 or 2 pieces or whatever. But
like who's gonna benefit from the Bucks being terrible this season?
So, Real Gym has a really good tracker for sort of picks incoming and then picks outgoing, and it tracks all the protections and all that kind of stuff. The Milwaukee Bucks, no picks incoming. Okay, just not a single pick is incoming. Okay, outgoing picks. They have the longest column in the entire league. Yeah, it's literally paragraphs long. I can go through it one by one with you if you like, but the long and the short of it is they don't have full control over a first round pick or a second round pick in 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, or 2030.
Yeah, so
they don't own a first, or they don't have like full control. Like there's some weird swap things in there.
Sure.
There's like whatever.
But they're getting the less favorable trades, like the picks in all of these swaps.
Every single one of these. Yeah. They don't control them until 2030. How did this happen?
So you're saying that if the Bucks get in the lottery this year, and it's a top 4 pick, it's gonna go to Brooklyn.
It's going to Brooklyn.
Okay. Yeah, and anything outside of the top 4 will go to New Orleans.
Anything outside of that will go to New Orleans. And this is what happens when obviously you make the trades that you have made, to get Giannis like these extra stars around them, right? Like first for Drew Holiday, then for Damian Lillard, then for these other little minor extra pieces that they've traded for. But like this is just kind of what it's at.
They're kind of like the next Clippers, man.
They're basically that,
They're the Clippers right now.
That's where it's like I think for Milwaukee fans, they got to be happy that like I feel like Giannis has really taken accountability and he's like trying to push this team over the edge as much as possible. It kind of reminds me in a way of like Denver started the season slowly and then Jokic was like, I'm just an MVP and I'll just do everything for the next 2 weeks until we get up to speed. I felt like Giannis is kind of doing that.
But they're still 4-9.
But they're still 4-9. And even Brook Lopez, I think, has like been pretty good in some of these games. But again, like it's just kind of not enough, man. I mean, like they're cycling through like rookies or second-year players that they're putting in the rotation. I know Doc doesn't even want to do that, but all these like minimum guys that they signed, Taurean Prince, like, DeLon Wright, Gary Trent Jr., they were minimums for a reason. Like those guys aren't really like hidden at a high level for them. So it's just, it's all bad for the Bucks.
I think they messed up the feng shui when they didn't bring back Thanasis, even though he's injured, and they brought in Darvin Ham on the bench. That's a big swap. That's a big swap.
It is funny when like Doc Rivers is just hunched. Again, Doc Rivers being hunched over for all the whole game just kills me.
Does Doc exist just to create memes at this point?
No, it's crazy because like the Bucks will give up a 10-0 run, and then the camera will pan over, and then Doc Rivers is just standing there, hands on his knees.
Yo, the funniest
maybe
maybe Jerome can pull this if he's gonna use this. Is like the Bucks the day after they got rid of Adrian Griffin in the pregame huddle, they did this crazy dance where they just danced around each other, like celebrating that their like big bad boss was fired.
No, they literally danced on his grave.
And then they brought in Doc Rivers. Okay, if you
who's the guy by the way? Joe Prunty. That guy was like an interim coach like 3 times for Milwaukee. Like, where's he been at? Like, Milwaukee's got to keep Joe Prunty on.
So if you're John Horst, what do? Do you
nothing,
explore?
Man.
You don't explore trading.
He just did.
But do you explore trading Giannis and Dame and doing a full just like rebuild?
I don't think you do that in season. I think you do that in the off season. You kind of let the season ride.
Yeah,
let's ride.
But what if like the Warriors come to you with like a really nice offer?
I think the Warriors are
like
also going really steady.
We're gonna throw in who else they got? They still got Moody over there.
What kind of package are we talking about?
Some kind of pack. Like the Warriors are like, yo, we're top of the West right now. We want Giannis. Like, what if we put together some kind of like Godfather offer?
I think
get you 5 picks back.
I think that exact offer exists in the offseason.
Okay.
So I do think that like they'll try to go at it for now, and then they can reassess in the offseason. It's just too hard. I feel like. Do you play the whole thing out with Giannis until he requests a trade, or do you take the lead and be like, okay, let's move him? So I feel like the Bucks, in a poker analogy, have gone all in, and they got like second pair.
Yeah, but
they don't even have 2 pair. They just have the second highest pair on the board.
It's almost to the point where it's beneficial for them to like get ahead of this and trade Giannis.
I think that's probably the point.
Is that too like overreacting to the slow start?
I don't see another way out of this. Like you could put any GM in this situation and it'd be difficult. Whether it's like for example, they need younger players who are productive and ready to win now. Those are really, really hard to trade for. They don't have the picks to sort of make that trade happen. Their old players are gotten so old. Like, are you going to get value for Chris Middleton? By the way, Chris Middleton making the max, like when was the last time he played? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, he had double knee surgery. He had surgeries on both knees.
That's crazy. That's what Doc Rivers needs. You're not going to be able to like trade your way out of this unless you sort of move it with your stars. But I do think they ride out the season.
So you're saying they're going to see how the season plays out.
Yeah.
And then possibly, I don't know, like a Dame move, and then see where Giannis is at if he wants to be moved. Yeah. Because I feel like Giannis is getting there.
I mean, what else is Giannis in Milwaukee for, man? Giannis is like very much like an all-time great. He wants to compete for championships.
Yeah.
If you see an opportunity to do so in the city that you're in.
He's like, send me to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I want Cam Thomas.
That's insane. Also, by the way, how many times has Brooklyn rebuilt, kind of looked promising, and then traded for a star? No.
The most underrated thing about Brooklyn is Sean Marks has gotten to build 4 eras of Nets basketball.
Yeah, he got an era in every can.
One to rock, one to stock. He got KD to rock, and then he got Irving to stock. Man.
That's insane.
That's crazy. And then he got the 3rd can in James Harden.
I'm just saying, Brooklyn is so funny. I don't know what they're doing.
So the Bucks future looking real gloom.
No,
your worry meter, is it dialed up to a 10 for them?
Do you think the Bucks even get back into like a top 6 playoff position?
Here's the thing about the East is like there's literally only 4 teams over 500 right now. So like
Milwaukee ain't one of them.
If you want to do the math, the Bucks are only 3 games out of 4th.
It's been a month.
I know.
I hope you're 3 games out of 4.
I do think like you
the
mentioned,
Raptors might be 5 games out of 4.
Listen, the Bucks have Giannis and he can overpower them to some wins.
Yeah.
I think they finish around like 500. Like I think that's a 500 team.
Yeah.
Maybe like a 40 and 42 record type. I don't see them like slipping off the slope where they're like a 25 win team.
I mean, they don't even have crazy injuries yet. I mean, like it's really just Chris Middleton, but like that's just kind of what you can expect. At some point,
the talent's just got to kick in. It's Giannis and Dame. Yeah. That should be enough to be a mediocre team. There's no way you should be sliding to like 25 wins.
Are you more worried about Philadelphia or Milwaukee?
I am still, See, I wasn't worried about Philly last time, but then I saw Joel Embiid come back, and
he's got an illness.
Yeah. It's like all that stuff is already piling up.
Yeah.
Man, honestly, I'm still more worried about Milwaukee.
Okay.
So I'm still gonna dial Milwaukee up to like a 9 for me. For the Sixers, I'm gonna put them at like a 7.
Yeah.
So they're 2-10 right now.
They're 2-10.
They got Embiid back, but they've also lost 3 in a row.
But they don't really have Embiid back because the Embiid that came back is nowhere near the MVP.
Yes, but I want to give it a little bit of time, right? Like he's been off.
How much time do they need, man? It's been a month.
I know, but he's been off. He's working his way back. Like, what if Embiid this week drops like 70 points? Then that changes everything.
He's in no condition to drop 70 points.
You don't think he's going to get back to a point where he's at least playing to like a close to MVP level?
That might.
You think that player's just suddenly gone?
No, I don't think the player's suddenly gone. I think the talent's there, but clearly, conditioning wise, whether that's because of the injuries, whether that's because of whatever happened in the offseason that is still not fully explained.
Yeah.
It's gonna take him time to get back to that level. And the point is like, how much do you like? They need to go. They need to play at like a 600, like 650 win pace to even get like to a top 6 playoff position.
I'm just saying it's not that hard to crawl back to the top 6.
I know, but like physically, it doesn't seem like he's right. And then like you still are working in Paul George, and then it was Tyrese Maxey's team. Like they got to find out. Like there's so much they got to work in the moment. And I think that like when we were talking to Keith last week, I really thought a lot about the Sixers, and it was like, you know, what Nick did with Toronto in that year, it was like he took over a team that already had an existing identity, and then they were adding Kawhi to that. And it was like when they had Kawhi, obviously they were championship level. When they didn't have Kawhi, they were still like top of the conference level.
17-5.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you can at least ride with that, and then he could take his time. He can pick his moments to rest. You're getting to the point where it's like there's not much time left to rest. You're basically doomed for the play-in again.
Yep.
And then, you know, obviously you want to get him healthy to the playoffs, but like I would love to see him healthy at any point right now. And same thing with Paul George. He got hurt immediately. And then Tyrese Maxey's hurt. Yep. And now it's like it's Jared McCain's team. And it's like, what's happening here? Like this is not what this like Yabusele and McCain are like their top 2
averaging
right
most TikToks per game. Man.
This is crazy. Also, did you know McCain might be part Asian?
Oh yeah, I did hear this rumor floating around. I might gotta go to Blue Sky to confirm it.
Okay,
though.
all right.
Yeah, because
Jared McCain confirm if you're Asian.
I don't trust Twitter
please.
anymore. My bigger question too is like, do we have an example of a big 3 coming together and making it work in the first season? Like outside of
Boston.
Did they? Oh yeah. Okay, that, and I guess we would put the KD. I guess KD was like a big 4 if you want to, put Draymond in there too.
But it's like that's kind of cheating because that's like when the Raptors added Kawhi. Sure, it was like we already had an existing
I just feel
thing.
like Boston's a really good example, but outside of that, we've not seen these things come together.
So Nick Nurse used to introduce Ubuntu.
That quickly. Yeah.
Well, maybe to get Doc Rivers back.
I'm still betting on the talent just because like I feel like there's more talent here than Milwaukee. That if you told me everybody was healthy, especially Joel Embiid, I can see this team going on a run. Like I don't think they're gonna be stuck.
You've loved the Sixers all season.
I don't
so
love.
I get it.
I just think there's enough there, and I don't get when we were talking to Keith why Nick Nurse was getting such a like. Fans were giving him such a hard time. Like, what is he supposed to do with this roster?
I think part of it is like Nick doesn't necessarily run an inventive offense.
Sure,
Nick's invention on defense is like so far ahead of what he is on offense,
which is crazy because didn't he come in advertised as like an offensive like genius guy?
Well, that was sort of the in thing in Toronto, but it was also like Dwayne Casey was running sort of like a pretty standard old school kind of not even old school, kind of like early 2000s style offense.
Yeah,
and then he like came in, he was like actually.
He's like Ubuntu.
Yeah, I don't think Nick Nurse ever said the words Ubuntu, but yeah, I think that like
so they're upset. They're upset that he's not bringing enough like creativity on the offensive end, especially with the team missing players and stuff.
Also, Nick is deteriorating in real time, man. I feel kind of bad.
Is he? He seemed pretty good.
No, I mean I'm just saying like physically. I feel.
Is he? He's in way better shape.
Oh, word.
Than I think when I last saw him. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was stressed out here in Toronto.
I just mean like the coaching for the last 5 years now. I guess being a head coach. He was so boyish and like he had like a youthful energy about him.
Yeah.
In 2018, 2019, winning the championship helps.
Yeah.
But since then, man, you compare the 2 photos of when Nick came in versus when he came out.
Yeah, it's the man who went to war and it's 5 years later.
Yeah, basically.
Did that make it to Blue Sky yet?
Yeah, probably.
Do they do memes on Blue Sky?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay, sick. Okay, my re-ranked top 6 in the East right now.
Like, okay, hold on. If Philadelphia played Cleveland in a playoff series, based on the rosters that they have, who would you pick?
I'm going to need to do a full physical examination of Joel Embiid in the locker room before the game.
All right, Marcus
and if he passes it, Philly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going with Cleveland. I think Cleveland can knock off
re-ranked right now, Boston number 1.
Yeah.
I got to put Cleveland number 2.
Yeah.
I have to put Cleveland number 2.
For sure, yeah.
then it gets tough already, man.
Yeah, because the only other above 500 team is Orlando.
I like Orlando because Orlando's been playing well without Paolo. Like Paolo's out for a little bit, so I'm actually really curious if they can like hold it down.
I mean, defensively they're really good. But you know the vibes.
I guess I'll put the Knicks there.
By the way, did you know the Magic are allowing 102 points per game?
Yeah,
and the next closest team in the East is 110 at Detroit.
Jalen Suggs effect.
They allow fewer points than any other team in the East. That's actually kind of incredible.
Orlando has the most dogs in the league. You know what? Respect to Orlando. I'm gonna put them third.
Yeah,
Knicks. And then I guess, I don't know, man. I give up on the East, man. I don't even want to rank the
East. Is a tire.
We'll revisit this.
We want to take this break in the podcast to let you know that we are partnering with Tangerine for this season. For people who aren't familiar, Tangerine is the official bank of the Toronto Raptors and its fans, and Tangerine is a foundational partner of NBA Canada and WNBA Canada. Tangerine is focused on growing the game of basketball in the country from the grassroots level all the way up to the pros, and where you will find a court, you will likely find Tangerine. And that's the mission that really resonated with us because we also share the same goal of growing the game of basketball here in Canada. What you need to know about Tangerine is that they are about forward banking. That means no unfair fees, no overly complicated products, no expensive brick and mortar branches. And if you want to learn more about Tangerine, go to tangerine.ca. You want to go to the West?
Yeah, let's go to the West. So we're back in 2016, bro. Cleveland and Golden State are at the top of the standings.
Okay.
The Warriors, to me, have to be the surprise team. Well, at least out West.
Yeah, for sure.
10-2. I don't think we're expecting a lot from them coming into the season. Got rid of Klay Thompson, added a bunch of guys, right? Buddy Hield, Joe Wolfon's guy, DeAnthony Melton, Kyle Anderson.
Yep.
Who else? They added a bunch of guys. But 10-2 right now. They've had some big wins too. Looking good, man. Are the Warriors for real, bro?
It's interesting because I think we hold the Warriors to a much higher level because we've seen them win 4 championships. But I do see a lot of the same formula being replicated with this Warriors team as compared to previous championship teams. Number one thing is like the Warriors go from like being really good on defense, like top 5 on defense, to just like falling off a cliff for some reason. Like last year, they weren't particularly good on defense. But this year, especially when you watch the Warriors, one thing I really like about them is it feels like there's always a double team on the ball somehow. Okay. And it's basically just like they do probably for me the best job of helping on defense of any team in the league. Their rotations are really good, and it's like 1 through 10. It's not like there's like a weak link in sort of who rotates for them on defense. Draymond is just like absolutely excellent on defense, as we always know. For me right now, he would be my pick for Defensive Player of the Year as of right now.
Wemby not showing enough?
No, Wemby's showing you stuff, but like I think the Spurs are pretty much the exact same team, except Chris Paul's there wearing a Kirk Heinrich set of like leggings. But like, yeah, like it for me, they're just like they're getting so much out of this roster that objectively was quite confusing when you first saw it. You know what I mean? And I think for them, like, obviously, you still have the offense around Steph. I think Buddy's done a really good job of sort of providing a scoring punch when Steph's not playing. But like their ball movement's really good. Like it just looks like a Warriors team. You know what I mean? And in certain years it works, certain years it doesn't. But this year I think they've done a really good job. And the guys I think they need to sort of get more from are probably Kuminga. I think he's always struggled to sort of play in a movement style offense. I think he would work really well on a Knicks team, for example, when they're playing more Tom Thibodeau, pick and roll, give it to one guy, clear out, play really good defense around him. But like I think there's another level to get from Kuminga. There's probably another level to get from like Podziemski. He hasn't really popped off in his second year just yet.
Pods save America?
That's crazy, man. What a reference. Election's over, buddy. America ain't safe.
Democracy's dying in darkness.
Oh, it's been dark, man. It's darker.
I feel like we've been having this Kuminga conversation for how many years?
Yeah, I think like Kuminga will definitely do better on a different team. I think it's like a systemic thing with him, or in terms of just like what style of play he is. But like, yeah, no, the Warriors have the talent isn't there on paper. Yeah, but
man, they got
functionally they look really good.
They got Steph. They got the kind of like you mentioned that kind of championship institution.
Yep.
Draymond's been playing well.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Wiggins has been okay because I haven't heard any complaints from
Wiggins
Andy
been
Lou.
solid. Wiggins like
Is
a
Andy Lou
solid
a
3
blue
D.
sky? I haven't seen him on Twitter lately, or is my algorithm
I feel like he's not a blue skyer, man.
You don't think so?
He might die with
He
Twitter.
might be Pink Sky. Is that like a K-pop group?
That's crazy, man. He's about to be a father, man.
Yeah,
Respect
I'm
him.
really excited to see this because we talk about like
Yeah.
these like aging superstars.
Yeah.
And for Steph to be able to lead the Warriors to like one more run,
Dude.
go up against like an OKC. We haven't seen that in the playoffs yet. I want to see him go up against, Denver, even like a fully healthy like Denver squad. I think it'd be super fun.
Mm-hmm.
The other team too, with an aging superstar, Kevin Durant, and the Suns, Mike Budenholzer effect.
Oh, no.
The Suns,
Not Ozempic, but looking
Budenholzer
great.
showed up best shape of his life.
Okay, yeah.
And he's been coaching the hell out of the Suns, apparently.
He has. Oh, he's
The
done a
Suns
good
have lost
job.
3 in a row here, but they got off to a really quick start. I think they just look much better, much more organized this season.
So, yeah, I think that's exactly it. Because I think when you set up a good organization for your team, and we've seen Bud do this like multiple stops, Milwaukee, Atlanta, and now in Phoenix as well. When you set up a good infrastructure around your stars and it's like pretty consistent day in, day out, that's when I think the role players can really flourish. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like for the Suns, when
the Suns got role players.
the Suns, like,
They got 11 role players.
it's kind of like it's impressive in the sense that like they just brought guys in who can like be decent.
Yeah.
Like Grayson Allen last year felt like way too important for who Grayson Allen was.
Right.
And he played really well last season. But like when you watch the Suns now, it's like you see like Ryan Dunn, the rookie. You see like, Oso Ighodaro, he's playing in a decent amount.
Okay.
Tyus Jones has been a really good point guard for
Big
them.
T,
They definitely need, well, he's very small, but
Okay,
it's
yeah.
little T.
Okay.
Little Tone.
T.
Little Tony. He's been really solid
Yeah.
for them. Royce O'Neal was added.
Yeah.
He's been decent. Like they just have enough guys where it's like the baseline doesn't fall off.
You're
an
saying
entire cliff.
their mid is rising to the top.
Yeah, and honestly, for a lot of teams, like you just need to improve your mid. Like Milwaukee, they need to improve their mid. Their top end is great.
No, they're done, man. There ain't no mid
But
there.
there's no mid. It just falls off a cliff because it's like it's Andre Jackson and like AJ Green and Gary Trent and Torian Prince and it's like okay, DeLon Wright. This is just not hitting.
Listen, bro, Jakob Poeltl to Phoenix. What can Phoenix give us? Though?
Oh man, let's pull that.
Can you please
that
check?
real GM?
Can you please check if the Suns have a draft pick available in the next 2 decades?
I can't imagine that they do.
Because I know they're outgoing until like 2031. I'm pretty sure.
Phoenix has a 2026 second round Denver pick coming.
No, wait, man.
A 2030 second round pick from Denver.
Okay, how about
So
how
they
about a
got
package?
2 seconds from Denver.
We like Ryan Dunn, right? That's the rookie, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
would you take a package centered around that for Jakob?
I don't
Get a
think-
little younger.
so what are we getting back? Nurk?
Oh, no.
Nurkic is pretty funny.
Nobody wants like. I don't think the Raptors need Nurkic, but it's like, can we get younger, get some couple assets for Poeltl? Would you do that? Phoenix seems like the team that would maybe make a move.
No,
like
I mean,
that.
I think Jakob would certainly improve Phoenix.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anything from Phoenix that appeals to you?
No.
No. Okay, not.
They're just not the
even
number
my
one
boy
team
Dunn.
I'd call because like a lot of their picks are outgoing because of their previous trades. I also think that like for them, like, I mean, they definitely need an upgrade at center. They've been playing a lot of Mason Plumlee as well.
Oh yeah,
Seen a lot
Plum
of
Dog Millionaire.
seen a lot of Plum Dog for sure. He's but like yeah, they could use an upgrade at center. The thing with Nurkic is he just looks slower and slower. I do miss like younger Nurkic in Portland. I felt like he was actually low key like quite good.
Young Nurk was a problem.
young Nurk was a
Reminded
problem.
me
Man.
of
The
Joel
young Nurks.
Priscilla. No.
But no, he was better than Joel Priscilla, man. Relax.
Ghostface Priscilla.
These are insane nicknames that we're throwing out here. But yeah, I mean, he's shooting 37% from the field, man. As a 7-footer,
Yo,
like God
any
damn.
7-footer shooting under 40% should be sent to the G League immediately. Like,
You know
I think
what?
that should be the rule.
That's like the Andre Bargnani corollary.
Yeah,
I actually
I think
totally
that
agree
should
with
be
that
the
one.
rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Phoenix has been solid, man. They just basically needed some more role players around their stars to be like decent in the regular season.
This is
they also won 49 games in the regular season last year.
Yeah,
so
but this is
kind of like in line with what they're doing
this
right
is
now.
my concept now. I feel like this is the new NBA too. Same way with the Warriors having Steph and like a system and role players.
Yeah.
It's no different in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like you've got arguably, 2 higher level stars in KD and Booker, 2 guys who can close for you.
Beal's like pretty good.
Oh yeah, I literally forgot about Beal.
Beal might be the Chris Middleton
So what are you saying?
All-Stars of
Somebody
like
you hate?
guys who's like pretty good, but okay.
Yeah. No, I forgot about Beal, man.
Yeah.
So Suns are the same thing. Like you're saying, they're
It's okay,
mid.
go with him, KD.
It's no, but the thing with Phoenix is like their mid has to be like good,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
if the mid is good and it's the same in Golden State.
Yeah.
And this is the new team building now under like the second apron rules
Yeah.
and stuff. Like you need your mid to be really good.
Yeah.
Like that's really it. Because like you're not going to be able to align all the stars like that anymore.
No, it's tough. And that's why it's like you got to hit on like signing a Buddy Hield and that's actually working out for you. Or like Kyle Anderson's actually done decent. DeAnthony Melton's healthy. He's been solid. You know what I mean? Like I think depth is actually like a really, really important factor in the NBA in general. It kind of always has been. But I think right now, because there's going to be less trades and less movement in general because of the new CBA, like you really need to like nail even like minimum signings you need to nail.
Yeah.
Your minimum signings better be like Tyus Jones, basically.
Right. Well, you look at the Raptors too, like even hitting on a trade for like a Davion Mitchell or something.
Yeah, no, that was
like getting
huge.
in role players.
Right,
like
and then
that.
you get Jamal Shed in that deal too. So it's like you actually have two playable players.
Yeah.
And you have to build from that level onward because the top end talent is just going to be a lot harder to stack.
Okay, pick one more West team that you want to talk about, whether it's a pleasant surprise or some team that's concerning to you.
You want to talk about the? I guess the Wolves. I saw you put Wolves and Mavs struggling in here. I think that's fair. Mavs for me is just like Luka. Luka just looks like an old man.
Classic Luka first 2 months out of shape after climbing the Great Wall in China.
I mean, he could climb that Great Wall a couple more times because like that looks his.
They've lost a lot of close games. I feel like
they've lost a lot of close games.
I feel like they've lost a lot of games down the stretch.
Well, they totally have by one or two possessions.
7-7 right now,
which honestly is not a bad record for what they have. Every time you watch Luka, his knees bleeding somehow through his leggings. Also, when did NBA players all start wearing leggings, man? Damn, what happened to AI wearing long shorts? Now it's all leggings.
Oh, fashion critic over
No, I'm
here.
just saying every player got their legs covered up, man. Like,
GQ
what's going on, man?
This guy puts on a one pair of shades and got a problem with leggings, man.
No, I'm just saying when did NBA player start wearing leggings and these headbands that are not like bands?
Listen,
they're
they're
like strips. They put on their head like bandanas.
I put the Mavs and Timberwolves here because clearly they were the Western Conference finalists last year. Mavs in the finals. And I think coming into the season, a lot of people were thinking that they were going to replicate those results, maybe even make a jump in the regular season, be at the top. And it's been really slow starts for them. I think Minnesota's more explainable to me because they literally got rid of Cat and you're trying to like function as a new team. I think Conley's kind of aging in real time. And there's not a lot there, right? Like I know Julius Randle just hit like a game winner, over the weekend.
Yeah, but they were fully going to lose that game.
But they just lost back-to-back games to Portland.
Yeah,
and I was watching some of that. I don't know.
Watching Mavs Blazers?
I don't know. Yeah, man, I'm cramming. I don't know.
How did Delano Banton look, man?
Yeah, he looks great, man. So I don't know. Like I don't know if the Wolves are functionally the same contender this year. Like it might be a thing where it's like, let's see when Randall's contract comes off the books this offseason, like what's their next big move. And DiVincenzo has been super disappointing for them. So this to me,
it's Dante DiVincenzo, man. He's really only been good once or twice.
But they took away this team that was so good, and I understand why they did it financially.
Yeah.
But I cannot put the Wolves in that contender circle right now.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like both Randall's like producing, but it just doesn't work the same as like when Cat was there. And they had like a size advantage all the time. Yeah, I mean,
like, are you still putting the Wolves in that contender circle?
Well, I already told you that. Like, I didn't think that like the Wolves for me were like gonna be best in the West or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I still believe in both of these two teams. Honestly, like I think that like the teams that have really jumped up into the standings, sort of like where the spots that they should be, are it's like Houston.
Sure.
Like I don't think Houston's gonna keep this up. I feel like Houston's played like a pretty soft schedule. I mean, that's not to take anything away from Houston. I like a lot of their young guys. They've had a lot of like good performances to continue to be like, just quite deep in general. I feel like the Lakers are also overperforming to some degree. They've also played like a bit of an easy schedule too. So like I think things will even out. But I got to buy into the talent. And like Ant for me is definitely a top 5 player in the West, and like so is Luka.
Yeah. So right now for contenders, I would put OKC. Golden State, Phoenix. I still put Denver there, although it's a little flimsy for me based on just their roster.
I mean,
and then I don't know if I'm putting Dallas or I don't know if I'm putting Dallas or Minnesota in there, man.
Okay,
right now that could change, right?
That could change.
Shouts to Christian Brown. By the way, we freaked out again about a role player offseason signing in KCP. Where's KCP at, man?
I think KCP's in Orlando. I think he might be averaging
he's putting up a 911, man.
Oh, word?
It's an emergency right now.
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure he's putting up a 911.
I mean, that's the thing with going to Orlando. It's like it doesn't matter what you do.
No, but it's like everybody was freaking. No, but everybody. Yeah, who's in the front row, man?
Yo,
Tiger
what do you want to do?
Woods.
You want to start a KCP agenda?
Jalen Suggs dunking and then pointing to Tiger Woods.
To be clear, KCP's putting up a 7.22.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's
like
like a Missy Elliott song from
It's an
back in the
area
day.
code, man.
Yeah. So, yeah. Once again, never freak out about role players changing teams. I feel like we always freak out because that's not the problem for Denver.
Christian Brown has done a really good job. Like in terms of most improved players so far for over a month, he's right there with
but the
Grady.
Nuggets are another team that cannot afford a single injury to any of their guys. Like Jokic can prop you up in the regular season.
Yeah.
But if you're going to the playoffs with Jamal Murray not healthy, Michael Porter Jr., you're done.
No, I mean Jokic can definitely do everything for you in the regular season. He's he's definitely the favorite to win another MVP right now.
Which is super impressive.
He would have 4 MVPs, man. That's how many LeBron has.
But he's been so good this year that like you almost have to give it to him again.
Okay.
Even though the narrative is like kind of over with his MVPs.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
He's got to be, to me, is he the favorite right
he's
now?
been the most valuable player
Yeah.
to this team. There's no question about it. I think it's just like accounting-wise, it's going to look strange when it's like, how many 4-time MVPs only got 1 championship, man?
No, that's fair. But the MVP is a regular season award.
Yeah, no,
that's why Karl Malone won at one time.
And it's not like his play drops off in the playoffs either. It's just he carries his team to such a high degree. Anyway, whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
All right, before we wrap up, just a couple of quick items for you.
All right.
So the NBA, Shams Charania of ESPN reported last week that the NBA is now in discussions to change the All-Star format for this year.
Okay.
It's going to be 3 All-Star teams of 8 players. So they're going to have the 24 All-Stars, but split them up into 3 teams of 8.
Yep.
And there's going to be a 4th team, which will be the winner of the Rising Stars game.
Not Grady Dick versus LeBron James. Coughing Baby versus Atom Bomb.
Oh my God. Bilal Koulibaly crosses up Wemby. So it's going to be 4 teams.
Can Wemby be on both teams? Because he would be in the Rising Stars game and the All-Star game.
That's going to be an ESPN segment for sure.
Okay.
So 4 teams going to play in a tournament format.
Sure, yeah.
And then going to decide a winner, obviously to kick up the competitiveness, because last year, the players embarrassed Commissioner Adam Silver, who promised it was going to be a competitive game. And then the final score of the All-Star game was 211 to 186. It's never good when All-Star game scores resemble you going bowling on a Friday. Like, that's where you draw the line.
You're a good bowler, man.
When it gets super concerning.
Yeah.
Are you excited about this? What do you think about this? Do you think this is moving in the right direction? Do you care?
No, I like the league actually experimenting with this. And, like, I think part of it, too, is just, like, the league has to make another adjustment with the All-Star weekend. Stop putting it in cities that players don't want to be in. Stop it. Stop putting it in Utah. Stop putting it in Indianapolis.
Well, it's in beautiful San Francisco.
No, that's fine.
This year.
That's fine. Like, I know it's not fair for the rest of the league. It's probably not going to be fair to Toronto. I don't think we'll probably get it again based on how cold it was. Even though
we got to get one more.
We did throw an amazing All-Star.
Yo, Silver, we got one more in us.
I feel like the Raptors would only get another All-Star if they built another arena. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
they're going to showcase the Clippers,
come
for
back,
example.
Man.
Yeah, okay.
Toronto's one of the biggest metropolitan cities in North America, bro.
I totally agree with you, man. It doesn't feel like that watching the NBA. By the way, Jason Tatum traveled on that game winner.
Oh,
man.
my God.
Man did a 2C slide until he hit a 3.
They said the NBA is so deep now, role players are hitting game winners.
Oh, that's tough, man. What a love to
You
see
don't get that on Blue Sky. That was off Twitter.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
I'm just saying.
The last man fighting, man. After World War II's over.
The last man on X.
Oh, how many more memes can we reference?
Okay, I am excited about this format.
Okay. I love the format because, like, I want to see how the teams are going to be formed, who are the team captains.
I think the Rising Stars are going to have something to prove. Like, they're going to bring the competitiveness.
No, the Rising Stars team is, because they've already done this with the Rising Stars team, and I actually do like that format, right? Like, that's the way they've experimented, right? And I've liked the last couple of teams where it's been like, I guess they've been like team rookie, team like international, team
They
whatever.
just have to shrink. This is a good because they're really shrinking the games. Like, you're playing different mini games, competing, because, like, I think the format of the 4 quarters of having like the All-Stars play, like, you can't do that anymore.
Well, I mean, you start watching the last All-Star games and it's like, oh, it's Dame's turn to take a half-court 3. Oh, it's Donovan Mitchell's turn to take a half-court 3. I was like, it just looks so lame. None of the players are into it. They don't even. It takes totally from like what the All-Star should be, which is the best players playing together in a new way that you don't typically see, to like guys just like screwing around. That looks like what happens after our basketball runs. After like we played for an hour and a half, we're like, all right, let's just see if we can hit a half-court shot.
No, but
like,
we were in LA.
Trash.
me, you, and Jerome, like one night, we pulled up like the 2001 All-Star game. And this was like Allen Iverson being super competitive. Stephon Marbury, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett was like posting up. Everybody was trying to go at Dikembe Mutombo. There were fouls called. Like all
they were
of
wearing their own team's jerseys too, which I know for the NBA, like it's better to release more jerseys because that's more inventory to sell. But I do love the fact that you can see like their own jerseys.
That is my number one. Cool. That is my number one thing. Like bring the jerseys back. And then Jerome did remind us that this format now does resemble what the NHL is doing, because they do have these like things where they split them up into teams.
And I think NHL All-Star Weekend has actually been
really
really fun.
Copying Gary Bettman.
I mean, damn, worst commissioner in sports, but like,
what have you done since banning Donald Sterling, bro?
I mean, I feel like for the
Emirates NBA Cup.
The thing with the NHL All-Star Game too is like, I mean, maybe this is for me. Like, I never watch hockey basically, and it's like I'm a casual tune in, but like
not patriotic.
I do love seeing like the penalty shootouts that they do. You know what I mean? Like I do love seeing like the hardest slap shot competition. So that's actually kind of cool. Like we
have the slam dunk contest.
It's just,
and the 3-point shootout.
Yeah, I mean, like to some degree, I think there's that, but I think there's an element of personality that those hockey players are able to put into those.
I don't think you're ever going to rescue the All-Star game completely because it is what it is, but I think this will at least introduce some like artificial competitiveness.
But I think to the point that we talked about with Ben Golliver, it's like a full-scale 48-minute basketball game is just too much for most people to contend with now.
Sure.
Like, it's how the game is going to be played when it's an actual game.
Yeah.
But when it's, like, for most people, they're not tuning in. Like, when you're watching a basketball game, you're not watching the full 48.
Yeah, I like my new little court surfing, NBA crunch time.
You like your little court surfing. You want to watch 4 games at once. You want to watch 10-minute condensed clips. You want to watch like
I just want to read a tweet about a game.
Yeah, the NBA is like they put on their YouTube channel. It's like exciting finishes, Raptors, Celtics, and it'll put like the last like 8 minutes of gameplay.
Nobody wants to see Bruno Fernando rolling to the basket in the third, dribbling it off his foot.
Okay. Why, man? Bruno, get better, man.
Anyways, NBA All-Star Shams Charania of ESPN also reporting that last year's 3-point shootout between Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu was super well received, and there's talks about Klay Thompson and Caitlin Clark potentially being part of some variation of a shootout as well. I think that brings a lot of excitement to the Saturday as well, so I'm for that.
Wait, so Klay's got to shoot against Caitlin Clark? Damn, Klay. I mean, Klay's off to a decent start, I guess. But damn.
Slam dunk contest, there's not much to be rescued, so we'll leave that for that. So
yeah, by the way, it doesn't think it's like I don't even feel like I see enough dunks over the course of a season.
Yeah,
where I'm like, oh, who I want to see in the slam dunk contest. You know what I mean? Like,
it's tough. It's
like I probably still want to see LeBron in it eventually. Like LeBron, just do it before you retire.
LeBron's
man.
not gonna do it, man.
Okay, can Zion go in the dunk contest?
What if Bronny jumps over LeBron?
They probably would put Bronny in the dunk. It's probably gonna be Bronny versus Mac McClung.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Eminem. They just call him up for one task every year.
They're like, 21, can you do something for me? Just throw down
21 on the Delaware Blues? Lastly,
him or Charlie Brown Jr.
Lastly, initially reported by my guy Bill Simmons.
What's up?
On Twitter.
Yep.
Is that the NBA has negotiated with Warner Brothers Discovery, who owns Turner Sports, TNT. They settled because there was initially a lawsuit because TNT had said that they wanted to match the terms on the new TV deal and NBA wouldn't let them.
Yeah.
Anyways, all the business stuff has been settled, and now Inside the NBA will continue next season when games are no longer on TNT, but it's gonna take place on ESPN.
Yeah.
So ESPN now has the rights to Inside the NBA. This is a story that's still developing, so we don't really know all the details.
Sure, yeah.
How it's going to play out. I know there was already speculation of like, is ESPN going to like shove Stephen A. Smith onto the set?
We've already seen some crossovers, let's be honest. Well, there was last season, remember, they brought Inside with the ESPN crew.
Right.
And it was a crazy mismatch because it was like, they were bringing like Charles and Kenny and Shaq, and ESPN was bringing like Bob Myers. It was Bob Myers, Stephen A., and then one other guy.
Yeah, maybe Richard Jefferson. Maybe did they call up Legs? Did they get Legs up there?
I don't think so.
Anyways, Inside the NBA will continue.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll stay in the same format. But anytime there's change like this, you would imagine things are going to get tinkered with.
No, I mean, for sure. I think the one detail that was reported that it will still be produced by the people over at Warner.
Yeah, so
they'll keep the same production
all the
staff,
Turner employees get to keep their jobs,
which is huge. Like honestly, like maybe that's just us in the media, but like I didn't want to see them lose their jobs. I know when the inside guys talked about it, they were so concerned about sort of like, you know, this happening with like guys losing their jobs. So I'm and hopefully from the audience perspective, it's like the same people producing it hopefully means that we get the same product. I think ESPN is like trying to like loosen their collar a little bit in terms of the content they're making. Like obviously the stuff that they put on basically the daytime television is like pretty buttoned up to some degree. But like at the same time, it's like they still will have these other shows that they'll like slap their ESPN logo on.
Right.
And that's kind of what they're doing here. Like, it's like, okay, Pat McAfee has a show. They're like, all right, we'll just like keep doing it. And then Pat can just continue to do whatever. Shannon Sharp literally like exposed himself on a live stream. And they're like, all right, the next episode is him talking about it.
They're like, hey, what up, Unc?
Yeah, like, you know, Unc, why were you moaning so much? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was, and like, he wasn't fired or anything. So like, I think ESPN's going to let Inside kind of just roll because they've come to the awareness that like, it doesn't matter sort of like this like prestige or persona or this standard we got to proceed.
Sure.
We just got to be able to like be what's topical and like get hits and views. And Inside has always done a great job with that. So I'm actually really happy that they've been able to reach this resolution because nobody wanted to see Inside go, man. Like, I know there's a lot of people like on Twitter being like, oh man, you know, like the coverage got to be better.
You still on Twitter? Okay.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still on Twitter, but like we'll make the jump eventually. But like people are like, oh, you know, like they're shitting on the game.
Sky's not always bluer on the other side.
That's insane. This guy hating on a website he never even used, man. Don't you know they got
catch me on williamlou.bluesky.social? Who says that?
that actually is my handle. Please go follow me if you want. I haven't tweeted.
Follow Hello and Welcome on there though.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, whatever you said about Inside the NBA.
Yeah, are you happy? Like, how much?
Yes, I hope it doesn't get sidelined. Like, I hope it's just a thing that just gets to be its own. But it does introduce a lot of questions. Like, does ESPN like just make that their show? Because then there's politics of like, okay, like, are you getting rid of your own halftime show?
Yes.
Are you getting rid of your?
Oh, please.
No, but they're also paying these guys so much money, right? Like,
That's
it's like
I don't care, man.
Anyways, it is good that it'll exist in some form.
I'm actually so happy for that because if you could just replace the ESPN halftime, and if they don't apply that stupid stum, like let's put 10 commercials breaks in a row in 15 minutes. Like, because obviously you can't do that with Inside, but I think they'll have the presence of mind not to do that. Yeah. And then also this means we can actually have finals games now.
That's right.
Of Inside.
Because they always wrap up during the conference finals, right?
Yeah. I mean, the only post-game ESPN shows I used to listen to were like the Hoop Collective low post crossovers. And
right on the court. Terrible sound quality. So, before we wrap up, quick bonus topic here for you, okay?
Okay.
So I saw on the official NBA feed, they were showing this video of Shea in OKC, super sweet, signing autographs for like fans in the arena and stuff. And one of the fans was with their new baby and said that we named him Jalen Alexander. We named him after Jalen Williams and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So Jalen Alexander. So I wanted to give you some other names, you know. So if you were like a Raptor super fan, you could potentially name your kid RJ Poeltl.
Okay.
Jamal Olynyk. Emmanuel Dick.
Okay, I feel like there's a clear cultural clash.
Scotty
that's
Quickly.
And
Bruno Mobo.
I feel like there's enough news accounts out there that someone has named their baby.
Merged. And if you go around the league, if you're a big Mavs fan, Luka Irving.
That's not hitting.
Okay, man. Bucks Dame Antetokounmpo.
that's Joe Prunty's new name.
In Philly, Joel Maxey.
That's insane.
If you're a Clippers fan, James Leonard.
In
Sacramento,
we've actually finally reached like a normal name, so I'm actually happy with that.
In Sacramento, DeMontis Fox. No. In New York, Carl Anthony Anunoby.
That kind of hits. That actually kind of hits.
This is my favorite. If you're in Charlotte, Grant Ball. Grant Williams and
Ball. Their baby name is Check Up.
Yusuf Durant.
Ball up top.
Yusuf Durant. No.
Okay. I mean, that's like again. These are all cultural clashes, man.
D'Anthony Curry.
Is a Muslim name.
Curry.
Huh?
No, not the Anthony Curry.
What about Green Curry, man? That's right there. That's
no, but it has to be first name, last name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It has to be, for sure.
Like this last one, El Peroon Van Fleet. Yeah.
That's insane.
Anyways, those are my suggestions.
This is crazy.
If you want to name your kids after two of your favorite players.
How much do you got to love
the same team?
These basketball players to name them after them?
To be fair, Jalen Alexander is a very normal name.
No, that's
that's actually a very normally Kawhi Bamba or Mo Leonard. Mo Leonard is
Mo Leonard's kind of sick. Mo Leonard's
or you sick. Name it after a coach as well.
Not Moji.
Nicholas Liu. Wait, we probably know a Nicholas Liu. Man. Anyways, but Jalen Alexander is a very normal name, so I actually think that's super cool. It's just that you get into dangerous territory.
Is that their actual name though, or is that you stuck some middle because you can sneak in extra names for the middle names,
right? Yeah, that might be the middle name. So it might be a Jalen Alexander something.
Also, what happens if a trade happens? You know what I mean? I feel like something's got to really. It's got to be the Kobe Lakers, Kobe and Shaq Lakers, that level, or Steph.
Just Shaquille
Warriors.
Bryant. AC Harper.
Yo, AC Harper is sick, man. Yo, you're sick, man.
With the could the Raptors ever do anything to make you name your future kid after them?
No. It's my kid.
No, but there's no scenario where you're let's say you welcome your first kid in 5 years.
Yeah.
There's no scenario where you're I want to remember the 2019 championship run.
Yeah.
And name them based on two players.
Introducing Kawhi Liu. OG Liu.
OG Liu.
That's my dad.
Yeah. So you would never do that personally?
No, I'm not going to judge you necessarily, but for me, it's a work-life balance thing,
Okay.
Yeah, this basketball's my job and my passion, but it can't be my family.
All right, just wanted to check. Hey, speaking of naming your kids after the Clippers, man, you see what Norm has been doing so far this season, man?
Norm's been great, man. I mean, we saw Norm in person, and we have a special surprise for you later on.
Yeah, I know you promised a full episode.
It's not a full episode.
It's a fun 10-minute kind of.
It's a cool 10 minutes.
We don't want to tell you more though. It's super fun. So
it's actually really fun. Yeah.
But Norman Powell he's
now. He's been balling though.
Most improved player, 14-1 on Betway to win most improved.
14-1.
The favorite right now is Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks.
He's been great.
Who I have to say I have not watched the Hawks this season.
Hawks are fun, man.
Okay.
Dyson Daniels.
Hawks are fun. Okay.
No, they're fun.
Oh yeah, Dyson's been stealing a lot.
Dyson Daniels been getting 6 steals a game.
Yeah, he's a shoplifter on the court, man.
I wouldn't know anything about that, man.
Yeah. But Norman Powell, 14-1. I do think most improved is another one of those awards. I don't know. Do you see guys that are in their early 30s take this leap and then suddenly get the award? But I feel if he's 25 plus points per game, you can make a really strong case for Norm this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's there's two different most improved categories. There's guys who are on the cusp of becoming an all-star and then they make that push. Like Pascal, for example, the year 2019 happened. That's one type of all-star winner. And then there's the other type where it's mid-career, they've actually made a bunch of improvements or situations and they finally got their turn. And I feel for Norm, he'd be the favorite for me in terms of mid-career, got a new opportunity and he's just absolutely killing it. He's in that category for me. It's obviously very hard to compete with these young guys who get over their rookie struggles, like a Grady Dick, for example, and then they really figure it out in year 2 and they start playing well, because their baseline is so low from the previous year. Jalen Johnson doesn't quite qualify for that, but I mean, I think in this true spirit of the award, I feel for me, it's a player who was kind of you thought of as one thing for a while, and then they suddenly make this jump. I actually don't think it's that different from Norm. He's just getting more opportunities to shoot the ball, but he's done a great job with it, and he's a fan favorite of Raptor fans. So yeah, I'll back Norm. So 14-1 is good odds, man.
Yeah, 14-1.
You think he's gonna average 25 all year though?
Yeah, I can see the 25 plus, man. Have you seen Kawhi Leonard near a basketball court yet?
We did go into a dome, and I don't know if you ran into Kawhi or Jerome ran into Kawhi, but none of us seen Kawhi. So I feel Norm's gonna keep getting the shots.
Yeah, make sure you hit the QR code below and check out all your basketball odds on Betway. We've run out of time. We wanted to introduce the NBA All Average Squad.
We'll
super crazy segment. We're gonna save
the most
that for
average
week.
Players in NBA history.
This needs a 30-minute explainer. So
actually, if you have average players, send in candidates for this. The most average. Give me an example who's average.
No, we're not doing this right now. Okay. We're wrapping up.
All right. No Jeff Green. All right.
Yeah. We're wrapping up.
Debatable. Well, that does it for today's episode. Thanks for everyone listening. This has been the Home Welcome Podcast presented by Betway, and we'll catch you later this week.